Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well, and that you're all having a fantastic day. Hope you're all having a wonderful holiday season, and hoping that you're all taking time out for yourselves to also enjoy life as well. As I've mentioned before in other videos, I know that the cryptocurrency space can be a little bit stressful, so always make sure to do something daily or weekly, however often you need it, to make sure that you are happy and content as well as we go through this market together. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. For those of you who have been paying attenzione to the news over the course of the last 2 years, we've had an egregious amount of accumulation news that's been popping into the cryptocurrency space. For those of you who have somehow missed it, if you managed to do so, you're a wizard, because I can't imagine that you've missed this kind of news. The amount of accumulation, and specifically in this case, the amount of accumulation for Bitcoin has been quite staggering. I have done my best to bring the news over the course of the last couple of years to really let everyone know exactly how much Bitcoin is being accumulated by the largest holders, the richest people that we actually have on the planet. This news popped up. Of course, not many people were talking about it. I don't think it was as luxurious, if you will, comparative to like MicroStrategy news, but it's still quite significant when it comes to the people who should be holding Bitcoin comparative to the companies that already do. According to Santiment, the company that's always looking at on-chain data, blockchain wallets holding one or fewer Bitcoin have reached a brand new all-time high, following a surge in accumulation that has been going on since November, which makes a lot of sense. November is a time frame that we began to hear about the potential speculation of the ETFs and their launching and them appearing on the DTCC's website. So it would logically make sense that as whales were buying up tons of Bitcoin, everyone else was also doing the exact same thing. Santiment, a market intelligence platform with on-chain and social metrics for more than 2,000, that's crazy, more than 2,500 coins, took to Twitter to share that Bitcoin wallets holding one or fewer Bitcoin now hold a record-breaking 1.4 million Bitcoin, constituting 7.3% of the total supply. I don't think we've ever, and as far as going over daily cryptocurrency news, I don't think we've ever gotten an exact number. We always hear how much Bitcoin is held by people holding 1 to 10 Bitcoin, 1 to 100, and then we've seen a lot the 100 plus. The 100 plus, if I remember correctly, that is to say people who have over 100 Bitcoin to infinity. I think that constitutes, is over like 80% of the amount of Bitcoin that's actually out there. So to hear that 7.3%, I wish that number was a bit higher. Constitutes 1.4 million Bitcoin that's being held by smaller wallets, people, everyday normal people, makes me quite happy, because you know the good old number of 0.003. I always tell friends and family, as much as I've been able to do so, to try and accumulate some Bitcoin. And I say this to them because we've all been there, maybe ourselves, or we've seen this from other people. I know a lot of people who buy very ridiculous things. I have a friend, she is, I don't want to use the term shopaholic, but it's right on the border of it. And every time I see her, she's wearing brand new, fantastic, amazing, wonderful things. And I ask her in a very polite way, so how's, are you investing? Are you putting your money anywhere? I try not to pry, because I noticed before, you should know my personality by now. I get like a little bit too intense, and she always tells me no, it's not for her. She doesn't want it. I told you about her before years ago. She's the one who believes that, how do I say this? That she'll kind of just be taken care of when it's time to retire. As far as I know, she's not putting away for a pension. Anyway, that's a whole nother a whole nother topic in and of itself. But I try and tell people, or at least I did more so in the past, when I would meet people at cafes or restaurants or friends and family, hey, just, a million Satoshis is only a couple $100. And they'll look at me like I just said, like, boop, doop, doop, like I said something really ridiculous to them. But I say it and I try to, give them the news lightly, because I'm like, I see you spending hundreds per month on things that you wear once, you'll never use again, or you bought because you thought it was really cool on social media. So why not at least try to invest lightly in your future? But a lot of people tend to not care for that type of information. Here's the actual tweet for it right here. It says, Bitcoin wallets holding one or less BTC hold their most coins ever, as they aggressively picked up their accumulation since the beginning of November. Mid-tier wallets are slightly down in the past couple of months, while whales have increased. I would assume, thank goodness, people saw the news that was taking place. I had a lot of messages, and I don't want to use the term old friends, but it's more of a friends who tend to usually only message me as the cryptocurrency market is going up. I got a lot of messages from them asking me, is it time to buy Bitcoin? Should they be buying more? And I'm like, if you've, as far as I know, been in the market for the past 3, 4, 5 years, like you should be able to determine yourself at this point if this is something that you want to actually have in your portfolio. But it's still that kind of thing that people tend to not really pay attention to something unless it gets restrictively expensive for them. We went over that in one of the most recent videos as well, where for some reason a lot of people would not buy the same exact car. If it was $800, they would assume something was wrong with it, compared to $200,000. Then they would strive to own this car. Light side topic. Some of you must have seen that video on social media as well, where they were showing, oh gosh, what was it? They were showing the store. For those of you who don't know, in America, there's a store called Payless, where you go to Payless, boom, boom, and they remade the store, and they were pretending that it was a kind of luxury fashion brand. Some of you must have seen it. You can find it on YouTube as well. And the people who were walking in, I forgot what they called it, this new store, but it was the same exact shoes. Same exact shoes that should be $12.99, $18.99, and they were marked up to $450, and people were buying them. People were like, these are the most glamorous shoes I've ever, I love these. These are amazing. And then at the very end, they were telling them oh no, gotcha. These are actually $12. And they looked disgusted because they realized that they not only had been duped, but on social media forever, they were shown. You understand what? It's just weird human behavior. But people only care about stuff when it gets too high for them to be able to afford it. So I tried over the years to tell people, at least to give them a little bit of a hint, hey, just put $100 in there. But that's also, simultaneously, wallets with 100 Bitcoin, collectively also known as whales, now account for 11.5 million Bitcoin, in an increase over the past couple of months, representing 59.1% of the supply, while wallets holding 1 to 100 collectively hold 6.5 million, making up 33% of the supply, which is a slight decline during the same period. That comes out to 64% of all the Bitcoin that's out there that we've actually been talking about for a while. News like this is very fascinating, and I am very glad that a lot of people out there are paying attention. I know I continuously try and drive the point home when it comes to how much Bitcoin is not left out there, and I'm glad that a lot of people are paying attention, because I personally believe myself that the next couple of years, the next decades, are going to be quite wild for people who hold crypto, and in this specific case, talking about Bitcoin, because it's beginning to get a little bit too on the nose, if you will, about all this stuff that's actually taking place. That's the Bitcoin accumulation news. It is very, very, very nice to hear that normal everyday people are also accumulating some as well as a gigantic just in case, because if it goes to $1 million, a lot of people are going to be very upset that they did not actually get some themselves. Yeah, that's the Bitcoin accumulation news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in this news was far too popular for what it actually was. We've had similar news like this before. I'll explain exactly what it is and why it actually ends up happening. An address linked to Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin has sold off huge chunks of some meme coins. The meme coins are Dobe, D-O-B-E, which is it stands for Doberman, because people keep making dog type coins, and another coin called Dojo. So apparently this amounted to trillions with a T, trillions of coins that were sold. And this made headlines because Vitalik Buterin owned them and then also sold them off. For those of you who have not been into crypto for a long time, there's a really weird thing that people tend to do. It's been happening for a while, and they will continue to probably do this forever. A lot of the original creators of a lot of coins at some point made their addresses known or public. I don't know how, I don't know why. I assume it was for transparency or just to let people know, hey, I'm actually holding this many coins. I remember there was a weird event a couple of years ago, where someone had claimed that Vitalik had passed, like literally, like, you know, passed away, that kind of thing, and he had to like show he was like actively making transactions on his wallet as he was talking in social media. I think he called it proof of life. It was a very weird time to show people that nope, it's still me, it's still making transactions. I don't know why that rumor got started. So what ends up happening is that every time that someone makes a brand new token on top of Ethereum, usually on the ERC20 method, they'll airdrop them into Vitalik Buterin's wallet. Why, you might ask? Because in the early days, Vitalik only held Ethereum. So within that wallet, as other ERC20 tokens are then visible within those wallets, anytime that another token pops up, the assumption was that Vitalik Buterin had also purchased that coin himself. Whoa, Vitalik Buterin just bought 65 billion of this coin? And can you guess what happened to the coin's price? The coin's price would skyrocket. Logically, people thought Vitalik had bought this coin. After like the 30th coin, he went onto social media and he was like, can you guys stop? Like, can you just stop doing it? But of course they didn't stop, and they kept on sending him more and more coins. So what ends up happening is that logically Vitalik Buterin does not want these coins. So he sells them off. But then it ends up making really big news, and I can only assume that the writers of articles and or a lot of new people getting into the market are familiar with Vitalik, but not of his methods of, you know, his method to madness, if you will. He sells off these coins and then whatever. You would assume that that's where the story would end. No, because people have a lot of time on their hands. What Vitalik then does is he usually sometimes will swap those coins either into cash or he'll swap them into Ether. Now, here's the other big part where you think the story would also end. Nope, it doesn't. The newly swapped Ether that he has received from selling off the garbage coins that he got, he then sends them a lot of times to Coinbase, or I think to Kraken. It's mainly Coinbase that we've kind of heard with his name linked to it, and the people begin to panic. Why do they panic? Because the news then becomes Vitalik Buterin is selling off $1.5 million worth of Ether. Why would he be doing this? This is terrible. Does he know something bad that we don't know about? Nope. What Vitalik has had to say many times before in the past is that when he receives a coin into his wallet, he either sends them to a burn address and completely gets rid of them because he doesn't want them, Or if he sees it, if it's a large enough sum, he sells them, swaps it into Ether or some other coin, and then sends it to a cryptocurrency exchange. A lot of you might remember in summertime, there was a huge story that Vitalik Buterin sent millions of dollars worth of Ether to Coinbase, and people panicked. People sold off their Ether because that's totally what decentralization is. You know, Vitalik Buterin is not God. He's a co-creator. He doesn't, you know, that's not how the project works. What he does is he sells those coins, sends them to Coinbase, and then through something in the back end that we don't know about, he donates them. Yeah, so a lot of the crazier events that we've seen happening over the course of this year, especially in other, of course, parts of the world, he donates that money to them so that people there can have a slightly better life comparative to what their current reality actually is. And that's the part that people tend to miss when actually throwing this news out there. It's always Vitalik Buterin is selling off. Vitalik Buterin has dumped tons of coins. Vitalik Buterin is causing a so-and-so in the market. Should you sell? And it's like, no, he's actually doing something quite nice that I wish other people did. A lot of, I won't name them, but a lot of other major players in the space also receive coins to their wallets, and they tend to keep them. I mean, of course, it is a gift, but these people are already billionaires, so why not help out the world? But that's another discussion in and of itself. Blockchain security and intelligence platform, this is a terrible name, Peck Shield Alert, spotted the transactions. According to the insight shared, a total of 100,000 million billion, 100 billion, no, that's trillion. It's 100 trillion Doberman tokens, and oh gosh, 100,000 million billion trillion, and 1.8 trillion Dojo tokens were featured in the token swap. And here's the tweet for it right here, because why wouldn't anyone else have any other time to do anything else? Yeah, the major news is that Vitalik Buterin was given coins. He did not want them, and he's transferred it into ETH, and everyone was scared that he was going to sell that ETH. I think a lot of people need to take time to figure out what liquidity is. That is to say, Ether tends to have trillions, hundreds of billions. There we go. Dollars worth of like market value, and also in its 24-hour volume as far as like the money that's flowing through it. If you sell $1 million into 78 billion, it's going to have no effect on the price. So Vitalik Buterin could sell as many coins as he wants if the public doesn't know, and then it would not really have an effect on the price. The problem is that people keep digging into other people's wallets because they I can't imagine having nothing else to do except for trying to figure out what Vitalik Buterin is doing on a Tuesday. What was that other thing we were just talking about? This was a couple weeks ago. There was some other situation. There was some other celebrity who did something, and that made like wide news. It wasn't Sam Bankman-Fried getting a haircut, but it was something along the lines of it. And I sat here and I was like, you understand that someone was sitting at their computer looking, like waiting and looking for this actual event to happen. I know what I'm also thinking of. I know why it popped into my head. I was listening to a podcast and they were saying at some point, some rich celebrity on Twitter stopped following some other rich celebrity, and it caused like a whole bunch of blogs and stuff to go completely insane. Like, oh my gosh, they stopped following them. And the people on the podcast were like, can you imagine sitting there checking a celebrity's like follow, you know, like they follow 400 people and noticing that it goes down to $3.99. You then have to like scour and see exactly who unfollowed them or who they unfollowed. And then you like tweet about it and like make a post about it or a blog or a vlog. And it's like, that takes a lot of energy out of your time and out of your day to figure out what someone else is doing with their own time that has absolutely nothing to do to you or with you, what have you. So yeah, Vitalik Buterin received coins once again. I assume it's significanter because these are trillions of dollars. There are so many dog copies now on the market. I will implore you, as always, to make sure that you are not falling for a lot of these coins. Please caution that a lot of articles are now popping up on a number of cryptocurrency news websites and I've seen them as well, stating this guy turned $200 into $1.8 million in 3 weeks with this coin. And they all have similar articles like that. And these things are meant for you to believe that you can do the exact same thing. A lot of times, for those of you who don't know, last point, for those of you who don't know, the people who usually write these articles are usually paid by someone else, and they're told like, hey, write this article about me or about someone. And a lot of the times, the people who profit the most are, of course, the people who made the actual coins. This is something that people don't really think about. They assume it's someone like them sitting at home who also was like, I'm going to put $200 into this coin. No, it's usually the creator of the coin who knew when they were going to launch, who allocated a huge amount of the coins to themselves. The coin launched. They had a huge bunch of hype on social media. It rose by however much percent. They sold. And then the news came out that they made tons of money, so everyone else is then led to believe the exact same thing. There are a lot of scams. There are a lot of scams in the market. Try to avoid them. I know a lot of times people see these new coins popping up and you get dollar signs in your eyes, but these things are made to be scams, and they're made to, this is why Vitalik dumps all of them. Yeah. I think that is going to do it for this video. I hope that you all have a tremendously wonderful day. I want to thank all of you for your support over the course of the last couple of years. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.